WABU Radio. We just finished hearing from the president of the NRA at a press conference called less than an hour before it began. Breaking news story here. The announcement. They are working with manufacturers to develop what they are calling shooter extinguishers. The president began with the explanation that in public buildings, there are currently fire extinguishers inside of red boxes. This system includes a blue built-in box that would contain, quote, advanced handgun. The problem in America is the liberal conspiracy made too many people simply too scared to own and carry guns. He insisted they say things like you are more likely to kill your teenage daughter's boyfriend sneaking around in your house after hours than you are to defend yourself from an actual threat. And this might be true at home, but unfortunately we see white apple pie eating men gone mentally ill, shooting people around them. For all those Americans who are so scared of guns that they've never been to target practice, we need to enable them with the tools to be able to shoot within a crowded room of people running around at the deranged person. We heard the NRA president further justify this nonsense device. People. The reporters, they all quietly listened. However, right at the 1 minute mark, the woman from MSNBC stood up and yelled, "Point of information." Looking confused, the president stopped and said, "Okay, wouldn't it be a better idea to avoid political pressure for gun control if you instead advocated for robustly increased mental health services?" No. We watched this NRA. I'm struggling to call him a leader. Waved down this reporter and he just continued on. You loony liberals like to point out that orders of magnitude more people are killed by Christian terrorists and simply mentally ill people than Muslim extremists. But I'm here to tell you what stops those ARABs. Fear of getting shot before they can make a statement. We've militarized the police, and this is very effective. But as you pointed out, he continues. The mental cases in Christians are a much bigger problem, so we need much more guns. Point of clarification, a second reporter shouted as the speaker talked over him, but we heard him say, "Won't ill people just have much easier access to guns?" Unfortunately, we are told. The NRA president is continuing. While we can get these extinguishers installed in hundreds of schools and malls in 2016, it won't be until 2018 that we will be able to have these systems code enabled so that they can only be opened if building security guards who are too pathetic to carry guns themselves activate a shooter alarm. But the crazies will have access in the meanwhile. But they are clear-headed enough to know that even the most novice citizen shooter will put a bullet between his eyes before he's able to injure anybody. Okay, enough on the story with the NRA extinguisher shooter boxes until we're able to figure out more on this situation. Because here on WABU Radio, we also have one of our reporters who got a breaking news story from Capitol Hill this morning. The Senate head advisor on national security, who last week, as you probably remember, got wild applause from a joint session of Congress when he demanded that any American Muslim who has protested against any U.S. company should have their phones tapped, had lunch with one of our reporters. He was much more dejected than usual, our reporter told us, and they sipped on soup. This morning, within 10 minutes of a leaked draft memo that he had written that said that American Christians who went to Uganda to advocate for death sentences for gays, whom have been arrested for tampering with security cameras in predominantly LGBT communities, need to also have their phones tapped. The Speaker of the House had a very stern talking with him. He told us. Essentially, the congressman told our reporter, instead of finding me a co-chair to head an investigative committee, the speaker made it very explicit which part of my body I should shove that idea up into. We'll be taking calls from our viewers after the break, here on WABU Radio.